In today's video, we're going to be restoring this Matchbox No1 Mercedes-Benz truck. I believe these were produced in 1967, 1968, somewhere around there. I'm not entirely sure. I don't see an actual date stamped in here. Of course, it is covered with dirt, so I could be incorrect. Now, this is an all-metal casting, except for the front. The grille and the bottom here are made of plastic. I'm somewhat surprised that it lasted this long. Also, after viewing some pictures, there appears to be a cap on some of them, like a red cap. I'm not sure if I'm going to attempt to reproduce that or just leave it off. I kind of like the way it looks without the cap on there, so I may just leave it off. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is remove the wheels, and I'm going to show you two different methods that I typically use. So if you're looking at a Matchbox or any other vehicle that has these type of wheels, you'll notice one side has a large mushroom and the other side it's a little bit smaller. This one happens to be on the opposite sides. So I like to take the side that's smaller and either grind it down or just smash it down. Now, to smash it down, I just take a pair of needle nose pliers and use the flat portion to just work my way around, just squeezing it really tight. Now, you can also just cut the end off, but keep in mind, if you're going to reuse the axles, they may be too short in order to reuse them. Now, once you think you have the metal smashed down far enough, you could take your needle nose or a small screwdriver and pry it from the back. Now, there's still enough material that I can reuse this axle. Now, this is not my preferred method, but you can use this method as using a Dremel with a sanding disc and just simply go around the smaller portion and grind it away. And the end result is pretty much identical. I do prefer the pliers over the Dremel. The reason being is the Dremel takes a little bit more time, in my opinion, and also you run the risk of ruining the wheel if you scuff it up. But either method should work just fine. You may have to put a little bit more pressure than you think you do with the needle nose, but just squeeze hard and you'll get them to come off, and you'll get them to fly across the floor like that. Now that we have the wheels removed, we can drill out this post. And just like in the last video, we're going to use this machinist bit. This will start the small hole and it will drill out the post as well. Now, this is plastic. You can see we have a little bit of a lip left over. So we're going to take a larger bit to drill that out so we don't crack this plastic. That should be adequate. We could take a small screwdriver and pry off this base portion. Now, our glass is also held in place by a post, so we'll have to drill that out as well. Now, this one's going to be a little bit tricky because I don't have anywhere to actually grab the glass in order to pop it out. Maybe if I can get a gap up here, but I don't believe so. We're going to try it. Just don't have any way to push it down to pop it out of there. Now, the rivet or actual post it's all the way really gone. It's below the surface of the glass, but it's still not popping out. I could try a larger bit. I don't really want to do that because then I will start cutting into the actual plastic. See if we can just pry it a little bit, ever so slightly. I think we're making headway here. Should be able to just push down on it now. Now we're going to give all the parts a good clean. Using a mild detergent and just some warm water. And of course a toothbrush. I will clean these further in the end, but you can see that glass already looks brand new. Of course it is wet. It looks better when it's wet. That's why a lot of times I'll use a future floor cleaner to clear over them, or some clear coat itself. Makes them look brand new. Believe it or not, it is actually clean. This is not dirt. This is something else. Hopefully that will come off when we decide to strip it. Thought I was actually going to need to paint this chrome again, but what I thought was tarnish, or the actual chrome bleeding through, was just dirt. It looks as good as new. So far the windshield and the plastic portion are great. We've just got to worry about the wheels and the metal. This should be a very easy restoration. Now we're going to strip the paint on the Mercedes. We're going to put it in our jar here. A lot of people have asked what's in this jar. It's actually aircraft stripper. I need to refill it, but this keeps the fumes down. I can throw it in the jar, close the lid, and I don't have to worry about choking on anything. And also I don't have to worry about getting it on my hands. It's really nowhere near the top. I simply just drop it in there and let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes. It depends. Sometimes I'll let it sit overnight. In this case I will, because it's fairly late, so I'll let it sit and then come back in the morning. I actually need to put more in here. It's not full enough. So, see, it just turns into a goo. You can actually watch it work already. Doesn't take much time. Paint's already coming off. This is closer to the real color than natural color. This darker is just worn. This is more of the natural color here, that bright blue. Again, I leave it in there for 5 minutes, but you really only need to leave it in there for a few seconds. Here's what it looks like after I've cleaned all the stripper off with warm water and a toothbrush. You can see 99% of it's gone, but we still have some left in the cracks. Now most of this paint is loose, it's just the toothbrush could not reach those areas. You want to try to remove all the residue that you can, because the paint will not stick to the flaky paint. It will just end up flaking off as well. Also, I'm going to try to remove all the paint from the inside of the body as well. Even though I'm not painting in here, when I start to airbrush, these particles can flake off and then dry into my new paint, and I don't want that. I'm also going to use my Dremel with this soft bristled brush to just speed up the process. got most of it gone. Now I'm going to use the more abrasive brush to clean up the rest and the body overall. This brush is still not very abrasive. It's not going to remove any metal, as proven in the last video where I used it on my finger. And as you can see, I've got some rubber gloves on here. All the paint has been removed from the casting. And the reason why I have the rubber gloves on, there's a few reasons. First, I'm going to use some Zep degreaser. You can use any degreaser. I just happen to have this on hand. And the second reason for the gloves is once I get this nice and clean, I don't want to touch it with my bare fingers. You carry oils, dirt, whatever, especially oils. You get that on the casting and the paint will not stick, or you'll get imperfections in the paint. So this leaves it absolutely as clean as I can get it. We'll spray a good amount. Then we'll scrub it down with a toothbrush. And then after this, I'll take it to the sink with some warm soapy water, rinse off all of the degreaser, and then I will let it air dry on a towel, all while wearing gloves. And actually, I just realized I forgot a step. I did not drill out the post completely and tap it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm not going to film that. Yeah, what the heck, we'll show it. I'm going to use a .050 drill bit and drill down the post about halfway. That should be dandy. Then we'll take our 256 tap and tap it out. Now all the tools that I use in this video, you can find those in the description below the video. They're Amazon links. Everything I use you can find in there. Now these taps are very small and they break very easily. So once you start threading in the tap, once you feel some resistance, back it off and then clean out the hole. And continue on until you bottom out the tap. Now I like to put the screw in now. That way it gives the alligator clips when I'm painting something to hold on to. So we're going to go ahead and screw this in right now. Now this is a steel screw. If you're using a steel screw, you really don't need to tap. You just need to drill it out. The steel screw will thread itself. Okay, we're almost ready to paint. I've allowed the casting to air dry, and we've got it mounted on our stand in preparation for paint. Now, just like the last one, I'm not going to prime this one. I'm going to use a sealer. This is the Createx sealer. I'm using black again for this one because I want to darken up the green just a little bit. This is the green we are using. That should be fairly close to the original color, although I believe the original was like a seaweed green or something like that. This is the closest thing I can find, and I've got it mixed already, as well as the sealer. So I'm going to go ahead and get these laid down, and we'll come back and see what she looks like. Now my first coat's kind of light, just to get it sprinkled on there, and then I'll spray 2 more coats. One will be a medium, and the last one will be kind of heavy. Now that the sealer is dry, I can go ahead and shoot our green. Now the windows don't look that bad, but they do have some scuffing on them. So before we dip this in future shine or decide to clear coat it, we're going to try to polish it first, see if we can get any results that way. I'm going to use this Meguiar's Plastics and my Dremel with a nice soft buffing wheel. Now it's a good idea to put your Dremel on a low setting because you can easily warp the plastic. Now it doesn't look like I'm going to be using any future polish or clear coat on this. It really doesn't need it. Now this is one thing I really like about these water-based paints. I just painted this 20 minutes ago and it's completely dry to the touch. Now it may not be fully cured, but at least I can resume assembly. And the next order of business will be the wheels and axles. I've already installed the front. It's a plastic piece, so I just did it separately. Now installing the wheels and axles on this one is going to be a little bit different than the Ferrari. I'm going to use the same method that I did with the Ferrari in the last video, using those two tools that BareMetalHW sent me. But the big challenge here is I need to install the wheel and axle onto the vehicle first, and then actually perform that task with the body on, risking damage to the body. Now if you watch the Ferrari video, the actual wheels and axles were part of the base, not the actual casting itself. Kind of like this, it's part of the front of the base, but the rear is going to be a little bit of a challenge. Okay, I've already got the axle mounted into my little contraption here. I'm just using a wood turning lathe, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. And then crank in my tailstock. Now that I have the wheels and axles installed, it is time for a reassembly. I'm going to start with the glass. Now, if you remember at the beginning of the video, we actually drilled out that post. So I need to glue this back in. Now to glue that glass in, I'm going to use this Testors clear plastic cement and window maker. The reason why I use this, normal super glue will fog up that plastic. So we will just dab it onto the post and let that dry for just a few minutes. Once I've let the glue set up for a little bit, we'll put the base on, which is only the front portion of the truck. And then we'll add a new button head screw. And just like that, I'm done. This was actually really fun and really quick and easy. I would say one of the easiest restorations I've ever done, and I think it looks pretty good. Even though this was quick and easy, and I have to say it's one of my better restorations, just like the Ferrari. And again, I attribute that to the paint. Now at the beginning of the video, I did talk about the canopy. I was either going to try to source a canopy or make one. Well, it turns out I can buy the canopies for around $8, but then they're $5, $6 to ship. And it's just not worth it. Almost every die-cast restoration, whether it be Matchbox or Hot Wheels, is pretty much a labor of love. You're going to put more time and money than it's actually worth. And in this case, a canopy for $12 shipped is worth more than the entire casting. I actually found this casting on eBay with the canopy for $9. So unfortunately, this one is not going to have the canopy. If you see any of the tools that I use in this video and you'd like to purchase them for yourself, be sure to check out the Amazon links. They're located below the video in the description. Now one thing I may not have in those links are the Mr. Color or Hobby Color paints. I'm not exactly sure if they're available on Amazon. I know you can get them on eBay. If you come across those paints, I would definitely purchase them. And once again, I'd like to thank BareMetalHW for sending me those tools in order to complete these axles. Those tools have been awesome. I'm sure if you watch my channel, you've heard of him, or you watch his channel. But if not, I will also link his channel in the description that's located below the video. As many would say, he's the OG of Hot Wheels customization and restorations. So be sure to check him out. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to post those below. And as always, thanks for watching.